Manchester United are all but set to break the world record transfer fee by splashing out more than £100 million on Romelu Lukaku. And with United spending that much on one player, he's sure to be a huge success, right? Well, if these deals by other Premier League clubs are anything to go by, you really can't judge a player by their stupidly expensive price tag. So here are 8 massive Premier League transfer flops. Andy Carroll to Liverpool for £35 million. Desperation buys are always hilarious, as long as it's not your club throwing money away down the drain. And that's just what happened when Liverpool splashed out more than £30 million for Carroll from Newcastle. Though Carroll was in great form for the Magpies, he was worth nowhere near that amount of money. And he proved just that by scoring just 6 times in 44 Premier League games for Liverpool. So they sadly had to cut their losses by selling him to West Ham for just £15 million. Andrei Shevchenko to Chelsea for £30 million. In the early 2000s, Shevchenko was arguably the best striker on the planet and was constantly tearing it up for AC Milan. So it was pretty easy to see why Chelsea spent £30 million on the Ukrainian hitman, breaking the British transfer record in the process. However, Shevchenko looked a shadow of his former self and scored just 9 times in the Premier League for Chelsea across 3 seasons. He was then sold back to Dynamo Kiev, where he spent the remainder of his career. Fernando Torres to Chelsea for £50 million. A very similar story to the previous entry, Torres was easily one of the best strikers at the time and had scored loads of goals for Liverpool. But after several seasons of missing out on the league title with the Reds, Torres decided that he wanted to go and win trophies, so joined Chelsea for a whopping £50 million. El Nino scored just 20 times in 110 games in the league and was seemingly mocked by just about every football fan in the world. Seriously, let's never ever forget that miss against Man United. Robinho to Man City for £32.5 million. Premier League clubs love to waste money, and Man City were masters of it when they came across all that lovely new money that was injected into the club. Once hailed as a new Pele, Robinho was superb at Santos and okay at Real Madrid. But when Man City splashed the cash and lured him to the Etihad, it showed huge intent. However, things didn't really get off to a good start. Firstly, he thought he had signed for Chelsea, as he famously remarked in an interview. And while his first season was alright, his second was absolutely shocking. Man City ended up cutting their losses and letting him go for just £17 million to AC Milan. Juan Sebastian Veron to Man United, £28 million. The little witch, in the words of Fergie, was effing great, but we think that he might have been talking about the Argentine's spell in Italy rather than his less than amazing few years spent at Old Trafford. The pace of the Premier League was seemingly too much for Veron, whose game was all about picking out the perfect pass and taking his time on the ball. While Fergie called everyone effing idiots for questioning Veron's ability, pretty much everyone can agree that he was not so great in the Premier League, with either Man United or Chelsea. Roberto Soldado to Spurs for £26 million. After Gareth Bale left for Real Madrid, Spurs needed to replace his goals and needed to spend their money wisely. And they thought they were onto a winner when they snapped up Soldado, who had scored 24 goals in the previous season. However, 7 goals in 52 games was not so good, and Spurs ended up letting him go on the cheap. Afonso Alves to Middlesbrough for £13 million. Borough fans seriously thought that they had got the next Ronaldo when they signed Alves from Heerenveen in 2008. After all, he had scored more than a goal a game in the Dutch league and was already a Brazilian international. And well, it started well for him, with a brace against Man United and a hat-trick in an 8-1 win over Man City. But that, incredibly, was half of his tally in the league, as he went on to score just 10 goals for more than 40 games. Though he is somewhat of a cult hero on Teesside, he was absolutely shockingly terrible. Lucas Perez to Arsenal for £17 million. £17 million spent, and Perez never played a full match in the league for the Gunners last season. Though he has only had 1 season at the Emirates, his performances weren't exactly amazing, and we honestly forgot he'd even signed for Arsenal. Though Olivier Giroud has been linked with leaving the Gunners, we can't believe that they're not going to get rid of Perez and keep hold of the handsome Frenchman. And that's our list. Who did we miss out? Let us know in the comments below, and if you get us up to 600 likes, we might just do a follow-up video. So be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already.